Buck Rogers' Planet of Zoom for the Atari 5200 from 1983. From Sega. Buck Rogers has been around for a long time, since the late 1920s, and when I think of Buck Rogers, I don't think of the radio shows or the old comic books. Like many of you watching, I think of the 1979 to 1981 TV series with Gil Gerard, Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, one of the greatest shows ever created. It did not last that long, and this game came out after it was canceled. Maybe they thought it would be around longer, I don't know. This is from Sega, and it does feel a bit like some other popular Sega arcade titles you may have heard of. Space Harrier, Super Thunderblade, Afterburner. You're flying through an environment, quickly dodging things, shooting things, and you can control the altitude. So it's somewhat like Zaxxon, straight on, but I think it's a bit like Space Harrier. I'm not sure if some of the same people worked on it or if it inspired or influenced anything else. I have no idea. I do know that the game has nothing to do with the TV series. Erin Gray is sadly not in here in those hot white stretch pants. My God, she was the only reason to watch Silver Spoons. Yeah, if you've never seen the TV series and you like Battlestar Galactica and Star Wars, if you like this show, go out and get the Buck Rogers DVD set. The more I dig into the Atari 5200 library and start pulling out the games that are slightly more obscure, like Buck Rogers' Planet of Zoom and Wizard of War, the Dreadnought Factor, Hero, and Robotron 2084, although that's not really an obscure one, I see the reason you would have bought an Atari 5200 in 1982. I always just thought it was a slightly better Atari 2600, but games like this just blow the 2600 out of the water. This is like a Sega Master System game or a Nintendo game. Alright, let's take out that mothership before we run out of fuel. An off day for Buck, 2 sloppy mistakes in a row. It's his fault, not mine. Blame Tweaky. What you have to do is fly through the gates as quickly as possible, so it's sort of like a slalom at first. You need to clear all the levels before you run out of fuel. That's your main objective. You're being scored as you fly, and you also get points for shooting down enemies. You see that line of UFOs on the top of the screen? You need to clear all of those off to get to the next level. And you do that by shooting enemies or passing through gates without being destroyed. The controls aren't bad. Even with the twitchy Atari 5200 controller, this game is very playable. Obviously, you can move your ship left and right and adjust the altitude up and down. You also have control of your speed. When you're flying at your highest altitude, you can push forward on your Atari 5200 controller and fly quickly. Be careful though, if you're flying close to the ground and enemies appear from behind you, they will destroy you. Frequently you have to fly closer to the ground to shoot bad guys, but that puts you at greater risk of being hit. As Buck Rogers, or any pilot from the 20th century flying in the 25th century would know, there's a bit of give and take with everything. Do you just fly through the gates, or do you take the additional challenge and shoot down enemies? Only a true hero like Buck Rogers would know for sure. Did they ever have a Buck Rogers and Battlestar Galactica crossover series back in the day? I don't think so, but they should have. Buck Rogers versus Starbuck and Apollo. That would have been the greatest show ever, and they could have got the chicks into it. Wilma versus Athena. You can just see Boomer, Tweaky, and Dr. Theopolis hanging out at the bar placing bets. Well, that stupid half-dog, half-robot thing did something cute and funny. What the hell was that? You know what I'm talking... I know some of you know what I'm talking about. That irritating dog that kid had. They should have shot that thing into space, fed it to Cylons. Buck Rogers' Planet of Awesome. Highly recommended.